Hey guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow, guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. You see that? That's me having to re-render the last video of 2019 for YouTube. I've got to re-release that turd. It's not a turd, it's a good video. Got to re-release this video because I made the mistake of going out and buying a license from this company called Storyblocks and downloaded some music and tried it in that video. YouTube has lost their mind. I'm like, I've got a license to use the video. Here's a copy of my license, and they are losing their stuff. Their copyright contenting just one particular video. I'm like, here's where I downloaded it from. Here's my license. And they're still like, nope. So you have to rip it down and throw it back up. That way we can have it out there as a record. But that is not what this video is about here this evening. Negatory. What we're here to talk about tonight is this little Texas Star. It's a Sweet 16 no fan kit. It's got DEI transistors in it, I do believe. Yep. I'm gonna go through this, do a power wire upgrade on it, modify the fans, and then I gotta make sure it works with this radio. You guys might remember this radio. I did a video on it here last year. Put up for sale. This is one of these rare unicorn 490s. This is the one that I've modified to be just like my bench radio. This one here. It's got a 2879 Toshiba in the back end of it. It's all cleaned up, aligned, and ready to rock and roll. It's upgraded power wire. Does about 125, 130 watts.
Yes, master. Right.
It's my teacher messaging me. Then the other thing I got to do is the guy wanted a watt meter, but he didn't want to spend a lot of money. So I got him a watt meter, very basic, easy to use. And I'm going to go through and we're going to show you how we actually make this so it reads properly. Because we all know that DOSI is not the most accurate means of measure there is on the face of the earth. But we're going to make it pretty close. Close enough that he'll be able to be comfortable with it to gauge what his equipment's doing. And we're going to show you how we do that. Very simple, very simple. So first let's start here, then we'll run this into this, and then we'll bring the watt meter in line, and we'll use this and this to set up our watt meter. Okay, everybody got that? Good. Okay, let's move forward. So we got our positive distribution bus in place. We've upgraded our ground wire. Put 2 brand new Anderson clip connections on this thing. These are soldered and hydraulically crimped. We're going to reuse this end piece. These are my innards. We're going to reuse his outside piece. That way he can have a guaranteed connection, because he's already got a hard wire for this in his truck. When he gets on his end, all he's got to do is plug it together. So now all we got to do is really simple. We got to put in our 4 wires that come off of here off our distribution, and we're going to hand tie all of this together and make it look pretty. So let me run off and do that, and we'll be back. Well, got all of our power distribution in. Everything's all hand tied, nice and pretty. And now we're over here. Got it all hooked up. We're running on, let's see, 14.9, which drops to 14.5 underneath load. Remember, we got to be easy on these transistors, you guys. Are about the weakest thing that man's ever invented to go inside of an RF amplifier underneath 14 volts. These are the DEI 16-2T transistors, whatever that means. So we're going to shut down the suite, and we're going to look over here. So on our right, obviously, is a 1,000 watt slug and peak. The middle one is bird watts, whatever you want to call it, RMS, P, average, whatever. And then we got our 5 watt in reflect back from the bird 10,000 watt dummy load. So we're going to hit this first with my 490 just to represent it working. That way I can get a gauge of what the input tune is like. Hello, audio, 1, 2. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. Put about 125, 130-ish watts into it for drive. Okay. Go ahead, we'll turn on the 16 pill. Hello. Now we knew that was going to happen. So we're going to go up to 2x. Now remember, you guys, this hash mark right here is 1,000, 12, 14, so on. Hello. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, audio, 1, 2. So we're getting 14, 1,500 watts out of it, depending on how loud we decide we're going to speak. Let's go up here real quick. It's our 5 watt slug on our input side. Oh man, really? My handle on my fancy ass tripod's not letting me pan up that far. All right. So let's see. Here, we're looking at that one there. It's a 5 watt slug in reverse. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, audio. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, hello. So we're seeing what we're supposed to see, about a 0.5 watt to a watt input reflect. And over here, just seeing a nice lazy little 1,400 watts. Hello. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello. So I'm 14.5. That's what we want. That's all we're expecting to see out of this. So now, we're going to break this down. We're going to set this aside. We got one last thing, is which I got to build a fan kit for this, but we'll do that at the tail end of things. So we break this down, slide this over. We'll bring the radio in that he's picking up, and we're going to put the radio on the bench with the amp and see what we get out of it for performance. So now we got the striker hooked up over here. This is the 490. Now this is the one that was really hot. I did a video where I sold one mint in box, and then this one, which is just a little bit rougher, as in like the tins are got a couple scratches on it, and it doesn't have a box to go with it. But the radio turned out to be a little bit hotter. Now, please take note where I've got the mic gain on this. It's only at half, okay? So let's go back over here to our bird meters. We're back down in the 1,000 watt position. Hello. 180, 200 peak, somewhere in there. We're going to go up to the 2x position. Hello. Hello. 1, 2, hello. Hello. Audio. Nice, smooth 1400 watts. Okay, so power upgrade's done. Radio's all finished, ready to go. So now, the last little bit that we've got to actually do some screw driving on is our watt meter. Let's take a quick minute and let's talk about that. It's like playing a game of Russian roulette. So, this is straight from the factory. See how far off it is. Cutting the factory's tape here. Wow, they almost put bubble wrap around it. Well, I made it here without no damage. Okay. So, we're going to hook up our dummy load workbench coaxes to the out. Now, in the ideal world, not for video, what we would do is take a piece of paper and we'd hook up our dummy load to our watt meters, and then we would run everything and see what our bird meters read, which is a far more accurate means of measurement than this thing. And we'd write it all down. Write down all the different data that we needed. Then we'd take our dummy load and hook it directly to this thing and take our watt meters out of line, which it makes a very small difference. Very almost non-measurable small difference. Then we'd hook up our equipment and then we go, oh, okay. And we'd run the amp and run everything through the meter and see where we're at and pop the tin and adjust everything to read the same. We're going to do kind of that, but for video, we have to have a reference scale over here. And we have to show this to people. So we got to do it at the same time. So let's go to the 200 watt scale. Go down to 1x, and we're going to kill our power supply, or kill the suite. Hello. It's only off by 50 watts. That's showing us 200 over here, and this is showing us 50. Hello. 150, 160. So 160 on this meter, 200 on this meter. So now we'll go to the 2000 watt scale. Hello. Now we're looking at this center line of numbers here. Center line of numbers. Hello. That one's off by almost 100 watts. So we'll kick on our suite. Hello. 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 So let's see, over on that set of meters over there, it's showing us 1400, right? Well, here we're looking at 1300 watts. So the low end of the scale, it's off. The upper end of the scale, it's on. Does that make sense? So these things are so easy to work. They're great for just a passive, not trying to work on anything with, unless you go and adjust them to a bird meter and set them up, calibrate them a little bit better than what they come from the factory. From the factory, they're within about 20%, 15, 20%, usually. I don't trust these to do anything more than maybe 2000 watts, period, ever. Not a big fan of these guys, really am not, but this is what we wanted to do. So we're going to do our SWR sets. And how that works is we leave this in the set position. SWR set, adjust the knob to SWR set. And we adjust this potentiometer until it lines up with the SWR set. We unkey, click it over to SWR. That's your SWR. I want to make that as low as possible. Now, hello, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Now we're going to go to mod set. Click this into the set position. Click it back to modulation. Hello. Hello. According to this meter, we're making 3000% modulation. Hello. Hello. Oh hell, let's turn on the oscilloscope. Okay, so let's actually do this and see what it does. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. It's gonna get a little loud, guys. Those of you that are wearing headphones, turn your volume down now. Pretty close. So let's back this down to where 100%'s at. Enough said. Enough said. So back to the watt portion. That's right, audio 1, 2. Don't forget, you always got that mic gain control so you can do anything you want. Hello. 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 1, 2, hello. Crank that back up to about half. Hello, audio 1, 2. Hello, audio 1, 2. Let's adjust it just a little bit. This is interesting. The 20 watt scale, I don't have to adjust at all. It's dead on the money. The other way you actually adjust this is you're going to set a carrier. So you've got a good baseline. So you set your carrier, so like this one's 4 watts. It's showing me 4 or 3 and a 7/8 or whatever. That's without adjusting it. That's spot on the money. 5 watt slug reading forward, so it's no longer reflect. Don't let the label frickin' blow your mind, okay? That's the reason why I didn't like to label anything, but okay. So now we're on the 200 watt scale. Audio. Audio. 190 watts. Let's go back over here and let's take a quick look for what we're doing over here. Hello. About 190 watts. Hello. See, you can't make a dozy as accurate as a bird. You just got to fiddly fart with it. It's not worth it. Okay. So now we're on the 2000 watt scale. Let's put that up on the 2000 watt scale. Hello. Let's look real close at that, you guys. Hello. Hello. That's within 1 or 2% of each other. It's fairly close. Okay. Done with the watt meter. Got the radio verified. Got the amp verified and all tweaked up. Let's do the fan kit. At the end of the day, you guys, this guy's stuff's gonna stay cool. Those are really, really aggressive Jamco JMC fans. It's not overly loud, not overly quiet, but you gotta move air. You gotta get air moved. That's all there is to it. So, this thing's done. Amp is done, and it's like I told the customer. I got a friend of mine, his name's Rodney. He runs all over the country for us, doing all kinds of different stuff, transporting shit here, there, everywhere else. And we got him into a suite that's got DEI transistors in it. That thing has lasted that guy a lot longer than it should have. Now, I can't make you any guarantees on this amp. I can't. I can't tell you that it's going to last the first key, 6 months, or into next year. I don't know. Rodney's been running around for like 2.5 years, and he talks every day, all day long, on a suite that's set up just like this. He's got a little 100-watt radio that he runs into it, and it makes 1,200 watts of power, 1,300 watts of power, and it runs. So this thing having DEIs in it, can't make you no promises, but you got an aggressive set of fans. You don't have to worry about this getting hot. The only thing you might want to do is take your hand and reach back here and feel this heat sink every once in a while. If it's a little bit too warm to touch, you might want to back off, let it cool off. This has got a $210 transistor in the back. And remember, you got a mic gain for a reason, because all the way over there is too hot. Somewhere right about in here is going to be just right. And it all depends on what kind of microphone you use. Your watt meter, it's now within a couple watts of being dead nuts on. So it's within 1%. Take this. This is going to give you useful data. This is going to teach you how to set your SWRs and get all of that set up perfectly straight. Gentlemen, I'm out of here. I got a ton of stuff I got to get moving on to. I'm over here working on this 3000 box also on the side. So I just got to say, gentlemen, my name is BBI. And without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. You can come check out the webpage, www.bbiamps.com. Or you can be like a smart filler and hit the subscribe button and follow along with me here on the YouTube channel. Or you can go and follow along with me on Facebook. You guys have a good night. I think I'm going to go barbecue me a hamburger and smother it in chili and make myself fatter. And I'm not even ashamed of that. I'll see you guys. Bump bump. Gentlemen, we're here to talk about a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And I mean near and dear to my heart. We're going to talk about, well, shit coax versus good coax. Oh. On the left we have our standard RG8 mini truck stop coax. This stuff. Worthless. Ran that for a lot of years because I didn't know no better. I get in this game a little bit more, got educated by some gentlemen that knew some shit. And I said, man, that mini stuff's garbage. The problem that I have with the mini stuff is you can't get it hot. You can't solder to it very well. And no matter how good of a solder smith you are, this foam just disintegrates as soon as you try and put heat to it. That's one thing. The other thing is it's incredibly lossy, okay? We're talking monumental amount of loss. It's going down 18 feet or so of this coax. The other thing is it's not UV rated. So you lay it out in the sun. It's probably good for maybe 1 year, maybe a year and a half. You give it a summer or so, at least up here in the northern portion of the United States. After about a year, this jacket's all cracked and rotted. Water's infiltrated into the coax. It changes all your resistance values and makes it worthless. So I feel sorry for these truck drivers that are out there trying to run around. They're trying to run their HF equipment or they're trying to run their CB stuff. And they have to change coax like every 6-8 months. So my customer that I'm working for today just paid me to do a power upgrade on his Texas Star. He bought a kick-ass radio. And I said, man, please don't be like the rest of these guys and use truck stop coax. Well, he's got 213 coax, which is big. It's big. So do I got any 213 around here? I think I do. Pretty sure I do. Let's see, SRG 217, 218, 7/8. Yeah, I don't. Look, I'm not saying that Tram makes all garbage, because Tram does make some decent coax. At times Microwave makes really good coax. LMR, not a big fan of LMR anything. It's just me personally, they do make good coax. They do. And there's guys out there that run it and they swear by it. It's great. Good deal, right on. Glad that's working out hot for you. If it's got a foam dielectric, it's shit. If it's got this style of dielectric, it's garbage. Period. Always will be. I don't care what data sheets you try to throw at me. I don't care what kind of argument you try to have with me. It's shit. The number one thing that kills coax is heat. Okay? That and vibration. So this has got like 4 or 5 strands worth of wire in it. This has got like 20. And they're just like angel's pubic hairs. They're unbelievably small and thin and perfect. They're silver. It means a higher conductivity. The dielectric on this wire here is Teflon. All virgin Teflon. This is the same coax that I use on my jumpers on my workbench, and I do this for a reason. It's for reliability. And when I was using these in jumpers on my workbench, it seemed like about every 3 months I was having to lop off the ends and put a new end on. This one jumper right here, I have run 48 pill amplifiers through, 32s, 24s, everything you can think of, and it has been there going on almost 3 straight years, and I've never had to replace the ends, not one time. Okay? If you do the ends properly, because of the coax and its actual build qualities, they don't fail. Got another friend of mine, his name's Rodney. He's out there running all over the place, all over the country. He's got this stuff on his HF, VHF, and UHF equipment. The RG400, that is. This stuff here. And this stuff here. But the RG400 here. And it hasn't failed him. So they make 3 specific kinds of this coax. Well, 4. That work good at 50 ohms. You've got the really small stuff, which is the 316DS, which you guys see me use on everything. That's this stuff here. Look at how small that is. This is Teflon. Dual shield. So you've got dual shield on the RG400 as well. So you got the RG172, the 316 or the 303 coax. And the 172 is just like this, but it's got a one solid strand of center conductor, and it's steel with a steel coating on the inside, or on the outside. I don't like that stuff. It's so stiff and it's got a really hard memory. It's great if you're going to put it inside like a bass amplifier, or you're going to set the coax down and not move it. On the data sheet, they hold roughly the same amount of watts. We're ignoring this and we're talking about this. They hold roughly the same amount of power. Okay. And then you've got the RG400 to RG400DS. Okay. RG400 is dual shield. RG400DS, I think, has got 4 shields on it. The DS, I can't find it anymore, and I only found an obscure data sheet for it one time. My entire station is built with this RG400. I love it. I feel very, very comfortable putting legal limit plus some through it. The amateur side of my station is all RG400, all the way up to the antenna. And it's been out there for 4 or 5 years. There is no weather damage to the jacket. There's no water infiltration. There's no nothing. This is military standard. I can't even tell you what the jacket is made of. It's an offshoot of Teflon, TPEFN or something or other. This stuff's bulletproof. But the primary reason I love this coax is because of this. We're just going to let that sit there and burn. Now, if you get this hot enough for long enough, the RG400 will clear for just a couple seconds, and then boom, it's back to a solid. Foam dielectric disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Straight up. Garbage. You go to solder to this, no matter how hard you try, you will deform the foam underneath, which is a very radical impedance bump right at the feed point of the coax. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. So, I thought I would just do a quick little video on the coax that I'm sending to my customer. One, first and foremost, but two, I just wanted to throw this out there. Now, if the RG400 isn't to your standards, that's fine. They make this stuff called RG393. Now, this coax is expensive. I'm not gonna lie. This stuff is literally pennies per foot. This stuff is bought in dollars per foot, okay? The dollar per foot coax will last 100 times longer than the pennies per foot coax will. Let that sink in for a minute. This is literally one of maybe 3 things in the radio community where you're gonna get exactly what you pay for. The loss on this coax versus this coax, you got lost because it's not a solid jacket, but it's nothing compared to this loose braid copper versus 2 strands of unbelievably tight woven dual shield that's silver plated, has a much higher conductivity properties than the copper ever could dream of having. This is a way tighter braid. This is a loose braid. Now, if you're in a pinch, you're at a truck stop, and this is all you can afford to get, great. If you can get a hold of somebody like me or Big Rig Radio down in Phoenix, Arizona, Bullet Bob Burns in California, Wolfman CB Shop in Georgia, you have a chance to stop through those places, they have this coax. Not a lot of people ask for it because it is a little bit more expensive, but it's literally a one-time purchase. You purchase the coax, you run it out to your antenna, and you're done with it. Done with it, and it'll last you forever. Now the trick is putting the ends on, so that's what we're going to cover here now. See, am I recording? I am. Okay. I had to get myself a bigger external monitor for the camera so I can actually get eyeballs on what I'm doing. I've noticed in several of the videos either you've been slightly overexposed or just a hair out of focus, or the color mix has been off, so I'm trying to get everything set up to where I'm comfortable with working with it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the way I like to set up the coax for me to go ahead and make an end. I'm going to show you how this works. So the double braid on this makes it incredibly thick. So it's not convenient for certain things that we're used to doing with normal coax connectors. But because we cannot melt this stuff, it makes it so that it's really easy for us to work with. I usually take about, quarter to a half an inch, and I'll solder it, just like this. And then I just lightly scrape it with the razor blade. I call this cleaving. We give it a little twist side to side, and then this slides right off. That slides right off. Now, because I'm working with such a short piece of coax, it slid it up a little bit. But then what I do is I'll take about another inch and I'll clean this off too. So look at how smooth that is, that connection. Very good impedance transfer. So we come up about 1/8 of an inch or so. We lightly score. And then as we pull this jacket off, we rotate it. We rotate it. Don't mind these 2 little furs that just fell off. This is for demonstration purposes only. But then we end up with something like this. So then what we do is we come over to our stand. So we have our jacket that's smooth and clean. Now there's a couple different mixed schools of thought. In the past, in the book, they tell us that we're supposed to take the outer jacket and fold it over. First, you're supposed to flay out the coax, unthread it, the shield, and make it so it's this big fan. Then cut it in a perfectly round circle, okay? And then we lay this down on the edge of the jacket like so, and then we fold the braid over, and then we're supposed to very carefully, with the hands of Jesus' hands that are guided with brand new little baby fingers, which none of us have, lay this over so it's not too thick to fit on the inside of the connector. Well, what we figured out is it is damn near impossible to melt this or cause a problem. So what some of us that have been working with this stuff have been known to do is we'll take the jacket and we'll bunch it up a little bit so it fits real tightly inside the collet. And then we'll solder it and then we'll cleave it and we'll trim this other stuff away. I don't like to even do that. Nice smooth jacket, nice and clean. Drop my downsizer in place. Now, for expediency, we're going to use a very big iron here. You can do this with a normal soldering iron. It just takes a little bit more time. So we're going to heat up the fitting. And since we don't, once again, don't have to worry about melting the fitting or melting the center dielectric, we're going to fill the fitting up until the solder sucks itself in there. Now what you guys just watched happen was this fitting get hot enough that the entire inside of the fitting just filled up with solder and it backfilled up on the braid. So this whole portion of the braid, which is roughly the same distance that you would have here anyhow, is now filled up with solder. And it's equally supported on all sides. We have a nice cleaned edge that's cleaved off nice and smooth. And the reason we can leave this little center dielectric in place is to help fill the hole inside of here. What do I mean by that? Well, the center dielectric just happens to be the right electrical size to fit inside of the fitting. So imagine this from the backside. Going in the backside cutting. When we shove this through, like this, it's full. So it's going to keep the solder from being able to run out. And it's also going to help maintain our insulation properties from our tip to our jacket. So now that we have this done, we wait for a few minutes and let this cool. And it's not to protect the coax. It's to protect your girly little fingers from touching the fitting and getting burned. Next step. Tin this wire. Pass through, thread down. Now I got guys that are friends of mine. They've gotten so comfortable to using this that now they use a torch. They use a torch the entire time to assemble the fitting because you don't have to worry about deforming the coax. Now I know that this is going to go in a mobile application. So we've got to do the thing called end soldering. Some guys, they don't do the end soldering anymore. Come on, focus. We just simulated this off camera. Don't make me do it. Don't make me go manual on you now. Should probably do that. Let's go over here, we're gonna go manual. As I'm moving my hands around, I'm not gonna make you guys motion sick. Okay. So, we're going to fill this in. Start at the tip. And just slowly add solder, very slowly. Back away, and it'll burp. As it starts to cool down, it'll go, and it'll suck back inside. There it goes. Come back, just add a little drabble more. This is where we let it sit. Now it comes back to a solid. Reach in here, snip that clean. See this little burble of shit? It's not solder, that's flux. And what we have achieved is a perfectly soldered pin. Now remember, this is an amphenol fitting. Okay? I did a video here about 2 years ago where I took a MAP gas torch and I just went crazy nuts with getting it hot. And I was showing you the difference between the dollar ends and the actual amphenol ends and how much heat they can put up with. Don't fear the heat, baby. Don't fear the heat. So we rotate this to the side. Let's bring this center and camera field of view. So we're going to heat this up a little bit. Remember, the amphenol fittings has got nickel plating on it. Nickel's a little bit harder to solder to than silver. Got to get the nickel just a little bit warmer. So there it flowed in. You'd never be able to do that with normal coax. It would just totally destroy the coax. So what I do is I come in with the soldering iron. Now we really start pouring heat to it. By soldering the fitting like this, we can guarantee that the fitting will never come apart and has always got a good, not mechanical, we're not talking about a hydraulic crimp fitting now, we're talking a good electrical connection. Very important. It'll also help keep moisture out of the inside of the connector, which if this is hanging out on a guy's wing mirror, cruising down the road, the rainstorm's going on outside, we want to make sure, give this guy every chance we can. Yeah, my hands are literally made of wood. Wood. That we can to maintain that connection. So now we don't have to worry about the reducer wiggling loose. We don't have to worry about our coax rotating in the connector. We don't have to worry about moisture getting into the connection. And it's never coming apart. If we need to change this end, we lop it off, throw it in the trash. Okay, let's do this procedure one more time. Use a smaller iron this time. Heat up, let the solder just flow over to the connector. We're not in a hurry. Because remember, we don't have to worry about melting our precious foam dielectric. And don't hesitate to pour on the solder. Nope, it just burbled down. Boop, burbled down. Okay. Solder's now inside the connector. We let it sit. Let the solder get solid. As soon as the solder isn't liquid anymore, you can automatically move on to playing with it. Because remember, you don't have to worry about the center conductor moving through the dielectric whatsoever. And I mean whatsoever. When I was first taught how to put a PL259 connector on coax, he made me put it on upside down for a reason. He had a little bench vise just like this, and he had the connector about this angle. He goes, now you're going to watch the solder and it's going to wick its way up because of surface tension and the laws of blah, 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 blah. It'll wick its way into the connector. Now we don't have to worry about the solder flowing back into the connector and causing a short, which was brilliant. He described it to me in a way that I understood, which was with a little bit of visualization. And I sat there and I watched him do it. And we did it with a little tiny Weller soldering iron. Didn't need this big thing that I'm using right now. So we fill it, it'll fill itself, and then if it cools, sometimes it'll suck itself back in as a pocket. So we'll fill that up. Smooth, pretty, nice, clean, neat and mean. Okay. Clean off our flux. Come on, I want to get on with it. There we go. Trim that off. Can't fear the heat, baby. Bloop, down in. Done. Coax fitting is watertight, vibration proof, good to go. Now I already checked this side before we put this end on. So let's see if we did good. We did good. Got good conductivity here, no short. Good conductivity there. Simple, right? Remember, guys, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? There we go. Practice, 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 practice. Okay, so what we got here is my network analyzer. And then what we got here is just a small little dummy load made by Bird. And we're going to go see our resonant dips across the span for Coax. Oh man, this new monitor makes this nice. Thank you, Mr. Black Productions, for this beautiful, wonderful monitor gift that I've needed. I'm telling you guys, stay shooting your YouTube videos on a camcorder, or pardon me, a cell phone. Because when you go to this level of production, it gets incredibly expensive, really stupid fast. Okay, so at one end of the spectrum, we've got a 1.0 SWR return. And so that's from 53 megahertz through 0 megahertz. This coax jumper passes test. Having a dummy load spectrum analyzer and looking at it on a grid dip meter, is that absolutely necessary? No, it is not. It's not necessary whatsoever. Like, on any level. Usually if it passes a conductivity test, I'm ready to go throw it in somebody's rig. But since I don't normally do coax jumpers, and please don't call me asking me to do this on a regular basis, you guys. My time and my energy can be spent doing other things, but this gentleman has been super cool and been waiting forever for me to do this for him, so I figured I'd take the time and do due diligence. Okay, so another exactly 18-foot long length of coax. Uh-oh. Look at that, it's running. It's running, but nothing changed. That passes as well. So now, the reason we have this little 1-foot jumper is for him to hook it up to his amplifier and for him to be able to hook up his watt meter from his amp. Now, in theory, you'd want to make this jumper between your amp and your watt meter as short as possible. Now, we all know in a practical world, you know, a little barrel connector ain't going to do the job, especially with one of them big blocky dozy meters. So 1 foot of coax is really not enough to completely screw up the measurements of things, but it'll make it read some funky stuff if you've got like a 4 or 5 foot jumper in there, or a 6.5 foot jumper or whatever in between your amplifier and then the meter. It's going to read false. You want to have your meter as close, if not on the ass of your amplifier as possible. This one passes. Hello. Because we're so short in length, we don't have to worry about resonant tunability of the coax. It's a flat response. Because the inductor length and the capacitance length of this coax is so short and so non-active, instead of having a resonant dip and then another resonant dip, non-reactive because of its length. Needless to say, that's how we do that. So now, the other thing I want to show you guys is the big brother to this stuff. I remember I was in Seattle, Washington when I learned about good coax. I'd exhausted my ability to learn anything from the guys that I knew here locally to me. And so I had to go to big boy school. And one of the things that I learned about was different styles of coax, because he had it all there for me to visually look at. And I found that visual tools are incredibly powerful. This is RG393. This stuff, you cheap side of things, $5.50 a foot. Plus the $3 a piece ends, so you're looking at 1 foot worth of coax with ends on it, 12 bucks, roughly $12 to $13. This is a 1 foot. This is a 1.5 foot. This is 1 and like 3 inches. We're trying to find the appropriate amount of coax in this guy's setup that I just did, and we hunted and hunted and hunted, and we finally I just said, dude, we're gonna put your old coax back in. For some reason, his truck was not a happy camper. There's a 3 footer, a 6 footer, 12 footer. There's probably $300-ish worth of coax right here. Completed. No joke. The cost of materials will be a little bit lower, but then you got to remember, in this world you have to pay somebody to put it together for you if you don't know how to run a soldering iron. Hence the reason I wanted to do this video, because if you have a soldering iron and you have the skill set which you have now visually seen and been talked through, you can eliminate that portion of the process. Just saying. This is the best coax you'll ever be able to come across. This stuff here, I wouldn't hesitate to put in the mobile 3,000 watts through this. Wouldn't even blink twice. Peak power, by the way. A 3 foot jumper of this stuff, I've put 10,000 bird through it. The 393, I know a guy that ran 12.5 feet of it, and he put a pair of 20s through it. Now it got so hot. Now that's the thing. You're still going to have the restriction because the wire's so small. So you got to keep that in mind. A coax isn't going to fail you. That does not necessarily mean it's safe. There's a big difference there. The coax will not fail you. That does not necessarily mean it's electrically safe or the appropriate thing to do. I need to give that disclaimer as well. If you go and run a pair of 20s through a piece of 393, that coax is going to get so hot that when you reach out and touch it, and you go, it's going to leave your fingerprint in the jacket. But the coax will not burn up. And it won't get to the point where it melts through and shorts out. It's like this stuff. Never fail. You just have to be aware of what its limitations are for the distance that you're wanting to carry the RF and compensate appropriately. So, gentlemen, on that note, I got a bunch of stuff I got to go do. I've got a bunch of other projects I need to get jumped into here hard. Let's see, the day I'm shooting this is Sunday evening. And let's see, you should probably be seeing this, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday of this next week. I am going to go get lost in the abyss of changing a Wizard 3CX 1500 into a Wizard 3CX 3000. Wish me luck. I'll explain this in the video to come. See you guys. I appreciate you all tuning in. Remember, you got any questions or anything I can do to help you out, or you got anything you could teach me, I'm always here. I might not answer as soon as you call. 9 times out of 10, I won't. I will call you back when it is quiet and convenient for me to sit and talk with you for a little bit. Don't hesitate to give me a ring. Call this number right here. And I'm currently not taking on any new work at this time. But that is getting ready to change here soon. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.